Rifleonline. I'm your host, Sean. Thanks for joining us, and hope you're having a good day today. We are going to change the drum heads on Kenny's 1983 Tama Superstar drum set in Super Mahogany. These are great drums. They sound fantastic, and we have been using them for a long time. So anyway, let's get started. I'm going to try to not only tell you a little bit about tuning the drums and changing the heads, tell you a little bit about the drums themselves as we go too. I'm going to start with the kick drum because I don't think I'm going to have to do much with it. I am going to take this mic off the snare though. These 1983 Superstars are all birch. I don't think I'm going to have to do anything with the kick drum, and I'm not going to change the head. This is a Power Stroke 3, I do believe, that we use, and it isn't that old, but it seems to be lasting a long time. I'm just tapping around. Again, I tune this regularly. I don't think there's going to be a problem. I'm going to give it a quick kick so I can see what happens here. Sound pretty good out there. We're going to go with that. We're not going to change that head. So, you interested, Oliver? So we are going to change the snare head. I'm going to pull this snare out a little bit. This is I think a 1999. It's a Tama. It's an Artwood snare, maple. These are 7-ply maple snares, if I'm not mistaken. And it sounds excellent. I know, buddy. Thanks for helping. I like this this little thing to take off the heads. I know some people use ratchets and stuff, but yeah, it only takes a few moments. The snare has the most lugs, so it does take the longest. Once I get these where I can do them by hand, I just finish them off by hand. It's a lot easier. I can do 2 at a time. This has been a fantastic snare though. Again, we love the tone. It's very bright, being maple. It projects almost too well sometimes. We have to use specific types of heads on it to make sure it doesn't project as much as it can. We always use a coated head, but I can't say enough about the tone. And it's a very pretty snare too. I like it a lot. Just the natural maple color. I am a fan of Tama drums from all years, but I really like, classic stuff. Just gonna put that to the side, leave the lugs in it. These are Remo. We use all Remo heads. We don't get any money from Remo, it's just what we use. They work well for us. I use coated heads, again, on the snare. We've been using the clear Remo Emperors on the 14-inch rack tom and the 18-inch floor tom. Kenny's a big man, and he has big drums. These are the extras. They were called at the time in 1983 Tama extras. So this is a 14 by 13, so it's 13 inches deep, and this is an 18 by 16. The kick is 22 by 16, which 16 doesn't seem like it's very deep, but in 1983 most kick drums were like 14. So at the time that was a deep kick drum. So I have loosened the snare up, maybe not enough. This is all Tama hardware. This is the old Titan hardware that this came with, and it's been great for the most part anyway. There's also the Roadstar or something, I think, the other top of the line Tama, one of the extensions. And I'm going to try to muffle this a little, and I want to tune the bottom head. Again, I know I'm not going to have to do much with the bottom head on this, as I keep it in tune. And we're not changing any bottom heads. I mean, I think that's fine. And I know you probably can't hear it there because I am not taking the snares all the way down. We keep our snares cranked up pretty high because it works. It works for our sound and what we do. So I'm not going to mess with that too much. Open a nice new Remo coated Emperor 14-inch. Drums always look so nice the first day you change the heads. Goes away quickly though. But if your drummer's not hitting his drums, you know, or her drums, then I think you have a problem. We change drum heads. I would say, well, as needed, especially with this 14. But 3 times a year, I think we change them all. I would guess every maybe 4 or 5 months. You know, 3 months sometimes, that would be 4 times a year. It really just it varies. Always several times a year. And then, you know, Kenny brutalizes that 14 a lot, so we do have to change that one more often. We put it. I remember we put a new one on for a show, and when we got back, and it was a new head. We got back and practiced the next weekend, and it was already shot. We had to change it. He had just destroyed the head in the show. Didn't break it all the way through, but you know what'll happen is these get dented up and the plies will separate, and that's what happened. And then they just lose their tone. We don't like to muffle anything. We don't. The drums aren't muffled. The kick drum has some foam on the resonant head, and that's it. Otherwise, it's wide open with the Power Stroke 3. Remo Power Stroke 3 coated head, and we do use maple, maple balls on the kick. So it's a Tama Iron Cobra double kick pedal with the maple strikers, which gives it a really nice tone. But again, no muffling. When I'll show you on the other drums, a little trick that we use. But on the snare, I might use one gel on it just to keep it sounding crisp and without too many undertones. We'll see. Sometimes I don't have to. Every head's a little different. All right, so. Just snug these up. That's all I'm doing is snugging them. Don't want to crank anywhere too tight in the beginning. This being a snare drum, we do tighten it. I say we like the sound of it pretty tight, so I tighten it quite a bit. I try to keep it comfortable for Kenny to play, though. I mean, if it's too tight, it sits hard on your wrist. Not like drums aren't demanding enough. That's loose. All right, let's just take it off. Not that far. And people may have a science to this that they use. I mean, I really don't. Not on the snare. I get everything about even. And like now, since it felt like it was all about even, I'm going to twist them all just about the same, about half a turn. And then we'll listen to it from there. We don't play the snare drum with the snares off in Rifle, so I'm not super worried about tuning it that way. I do want to stop it to a degree though. I know it's probably not coming through on the camera, but that's pretty close. Oliver dog, you need to go in the other room, buddy. Huh? Do you? I know, it gets exciting. So I'm hitting this really lightly now, so I can hear it. I don't know if it's coming through to you, but I'm just trying to make sure that these are all pretty even in each area of the head. And I'm going to start out as low as I think I could go and get a decent sound, and I'm going to go up from there until I know it's the sound that we're going to want. So like that. That's really low. Not that it sounds bad, but it sounds bad for us. So I'm going to go another half turn, well, a quarter turn on all of these. Maybe somewhere in between. I just know what it is. Let's see. Alright, that's getting there. I'm going to go ahead and put, that's going to need it. I'm going to put a piece of gel on it. So I don't really like to muffle these, but I usually put one piece of gel. Just seems to work out really, really well for the snare. And we'll need to tighten her up a little bit. Alright, let's get to cranking. And remember too, depending on your environment, you know, when you change a head, a new head, just like a guitar string, you might have to tune it a little for the first few days. I generally have to tune Kenny's drums every week, no matter what. That's not because of the environment, it's because of Kenny. But that's pretty much what we're looking for. Let me pull it in here. I like to check it with the bass drum because, you know, the separation is important. I like that. I like that. So for now, I'm going to leave that right there, and then we're going to move on to the 14. We're going to take care of this 14 again. This is a 14-inch by 13-inch deep tom, and so it's huge. And I'm just going to start removing this head. This one's really shot. This is one of our drummer's favorite targets, I assume. You know, it's easier to damage this one than it is the 18. That 18 is just so big. It can take a lot of impact, and it has a lot of give. So one thing about Rifle, one of the many wonderful things about Rifle, is we all contribute in different ways. Not just musically, like, you know, yes, I play bass, but I try to contribute to the overall entity that is the band Rifle by doing things like this. So You know, I work on all of our guitars and modify guitars and of course basses. Occasion build some guitars and basses. Just maintain things. Same thing with the drums. You know, I keep the drums tuned and I change the heads out. And it just helps that we work as a team. I know a lot of times drummers probably do this on their own, but in my years I have played with many drummers, and I have to say very few of them tune their drums correctly, if at all. So I don't mind doing it, and Kenny, our drummer, does not mind me doing it.